Yes, other form of me na kwaba eroba platform we so host na naji and I want me upon and putting put so I did kind whatever platform we so now what I want to ask my say subscribe to the for latest update and behind notification of send be newly upload be an so ever rich was for say the assembly say the answer attend the OGH celebrated phone channel and mom near out to be about this particular platform as so often you do see a coming aqua say it's more Captain Smart in Sumporo, I dare say, when you journalist, when you journalist, I dare say, patapa, and our dinner when I better was as a air panel, and a baby de jam. It will meet dear soon other for yes, our designs and family.
This guy, I don't know whether he's done a news report before. I don't know whether he's actually done a news report before. Go to the assignments, bring the news report to the newsroom and do it. Whether he has any documentary to his name, whether he has any news documentary. That's what we do as journalists. We write reports and all of that. Anyway, so somehow he wanted to participate in what happened at the Baumia event because of the trends that was going on. Then he picks himself onto his television and radio station. And then he says things that I didn't say, and then says that I'm lying. Because he doesn't understand how a journalist can have such rich experience and it's still normal. Because maybe if he had that rich experience, he'll probably walk on everybody's shoulders. So he doesn't understand that you can have rich experience and still be adept at the work. The work is most important. It's not about saying anything. So when you say you've covered elections from 98, he thinks that is a lie because he thinks it's not possible. Have a look at what he said.
Okova UK elections obwa time na 1991 UK for two abanu wedi mfie say so mfie say cause was only 50 it take 1991 92 93 94 95 96 1991 ko abesi nne how many years but you calculation mami when you follow a liar you become a liar principle of two. Papa so catch him say or starting Metro TV no 17 years.
Did I say I covered elections in 1991? I mean, a very cursory appreciation will show you that there was no election in UK in 1991. What is wrong with him? There was no election in UK in 1991. I'll show you what I said. I said 2001 and I mentioned Tony Blair. There was no Tony Blair in 1991. 1991, British Prime Minister was Margaret Thatcher. There was no election in 1991. There was an election in UK in 1992. It was won by John Major. Tell him that there was no election in just a Google would have showed him that there was no election in UK in 1991. And I didn't say 1991. I said 2001. And I mentioned Tony Blair. Just even listening, they can't listen. Just listen to it, he can't listen. And then he says, what, it's a lie? This is the photograph, is here. Please.
Mr. Vice President, I covered the NPP presidential primaries in 1998. I covered election 2000. I covered the NDC contest for election 2004, the one between Mills and Kwesi Botwe. I covered election 2004. 2008, 12, 16, 20. I have never seen a presidential candidate, whether in opposition or in government, focusing his campaign to the people about policy initiatives and policies that have been achieved. I also covered the UK election in 2001 for Tony Blair, and I covered also the UK election in 2019. You will find in those places that they were always articulating policy, what can be done, what can be solved. You will find here, in all of those historical elections, that we were not doing that until Mahamudu Bawumia arrived on the scene. Mr. Vice President, whatever happens in December, you have changed the politics of Ghana and Africa for a long time to come. I have nothing more useful to add except that God bless you.
Thank you, Paul.
God bless you.
What else can I say? I said it. I covered the election in 2001 for Tony Blair. And then he says that, oh my goodness. This is me in 2001 covering the UK election in 2001 for the BBC, and that's David Lammy. David Lammy later became a minister for education under Gordon Brown, and he visited Ghana. of course, he had forgotten about this incident. So he visited Ghana, and the British High Commission thought he should come and have an interview on Good Evening Ghana. Whilst we were having an interview on Good Evening Ghana, I reminded him that I had covered the UK election with him in 2001 when he was running for the first time as parliamentary candidate for Labour. This is that experience back at Good Evening Ghana sometime in 2010. Have a look.
We have David Lammy. David Lammy is Member of Parliament, MP, as they say in the UK, right? Honourable David Lammy is MP for Tottenham. And Tottenham, those of you who've been to London so many times know that it's a big community that people in Ghana have interest. So I'll be talking to David Lammy tonight about Tottenham and about why he's in Ghana. You look very different from 9 years ago when I saw you. And I'd like viewers to see this. Can we see the photograph? You know, I was in London at that time, working for the BBC, and David was competing for the Tottenham seat. He was already in then. He was competing for another term.
You're right. Things have changed.
Okay, that's it. So it's on your left is Paul Ademochire, and on your right is David Lammy, MP Tottenham. Wow. I was picking an interview with him. There you see it again. David and I, back in the day. Well, he was higher than I am, and he's still higher, actually. He's in the Commons. So that's David Lammy. He's done very well. He's represented black people effectively. If you look at his website, you see what he's doing for the community, for football people, for schools, and he has a passion for higher education. He had a passion for culture. He did a lot with culture under Tony Blair's administration. So that's David Lammy and I back in the day. It's good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Great to be here.
What are you doing in Ghana?
Well, I'm in Ghana because Ghana is such an important country. It's an important country, of course, in relation to Tottenham, and I am so grateful.
So please, tomorrow morning, tell Opana that I really did cover the elections in UK in 2001. And in Ghana, I didn't say 1992. I said 1998, the MPP contest. And see this, our friend here. He's there, and the West African Media Foundation. They say that the things that Bobia has been saying is unsubstantiated. That they do radio programs and call themselves journalists only to come and insult people and do unsubstantiated things. The things that they say is unsubstantiated. The things that you say in journalism must have the biggest foundation and must be the pivot around which society revolves. You cannot be a journalist and be talking and be told by a research organization that what you do is full of insults, and then they feel that it's okay, they think it's okay. That's up to them. But we will not fall for those low standards. Professor P.A.V. Ansan used to write something. He says that he will not descend into the gutter with them, but he will rise up to the standard of the ivory tower and make sure that the standards of journalism are continuously high. May he rest in eternal peace, and we will make sure that the standards of journalism are continuously high. Not this kind of journalism where the Media Foundation for West Africa comes to the conclusion that the things that he says are either insults or is unsubstantiated. And that is the content of a full radio program, a full media program, which has been assessed to say that what he says is unsubstantiated and is full of insults. But some people applaud it.
Yes, other foreigners say, Papa, I don't watch the H. Captain Smart the end of Creba journalist. Because we bomb research Kurano, no nimba bia acquire the certificates and one a demand se patapabi no day, yes, Jumano said, dang, and what thing, ha and a day, Jumano so ABC Dobiara Sibesi Macramo Baba.